One winter day, when the snow was falling, a beautiful queen sat sewing by a window. As she looked out on the white garden, she saw a black raven, and while she was looking at it, she accidentally pricked her finger with a needle. When she saw the blood, she thought, "How wonderful it would be if I could have a little girl whose skin was as white as the snow, her hair as black as the raven's, and her lips as red as my blood."
Not long afterward, the queen had a baby daughter, and when she saw her black hair, snowy white skin, and red lips, she remembered her wish and called her Snow White. Snow White grew up and became a pretty child, but sadly, after a few years, her stepmother died and her father married again. The new queen was a very beautiful woman too, but she was nasty. More than everything else, she wanted to be certain that she was the most beautiful woman in the world. She had a magic mirror, and she used to look at herself in it every day and said,
"Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?" And the mirror always replied, "You, O queen, are the fairest one of all." Then the queen smiled when she heard this, because she knew that the mirror never failed to speak the truth.
One day, a prince saw Snow White while she was singing in the garden. She didn't believe her eyes to see this beautiful prince in front of her. They were so in love that they said inconsistent comments. He promised her to come back as soon as possible.
In the meantime, her stepmother looked in the magic mirror and said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?" And the mirror replied, "You, queen, are fair, it's true, but Snow White is now fairer than you." The queen was very angry and jealous. In a terrible rage, she decided that Snow White would be killed. So her main stepmother asked her vampire servant to kill her.
Then the vampire beat her after he had brought her to the deep dark forest just before the night, and he got back to the castle thinking that she was dead. Once the sun high in the sky, the kind animals of the forest grouped together around the body of Snow White stained with blood. Carefully they decided to take her with them and to go to the dwarf's home. In the bend of the road, in the middle of a clearing, they saw the welcoming cottage. The animal left her on the doorstep.
A few hours later, when the dwarf returned, they were amazed to see that pretty bloody girl in front of their home. They carried her upstairs into their bed. As she was covered with blood, they decided to clean her. Then they went to bed because they were tired. During the night, Snow White woke up, and she discovered the dwarf. When she went downstairs, she saw in the mirror that something had changed on her. She had red eyes.
She looked around her and saw a room all spick and span with a long table with 7 little chairs in which were written the name of the 7 dwarfs: Grumpy, Sleepy, Dark, Bashful, Dopey, Happy, and Sneezy. She understood that there was nothing to do here, so she went outside to have a walk in the forest. But Snow White was very hungry, and she sucked the blood of a cute rabbit just after she had caught it.
When the sun was up, she went to the cottage because she had the impression that her whole body was burning. Once in the house, she returned to bed. A few minutes after, the dwarf woke up. As Snow White was asleep, they went to work in a nearby mine, digging diamonds from deep inside the mountain.
At the same moment, the weak queen welcomed the vampire. She was happy that now she was once more the most beautiful woman in the land. As soon as she was alone, she looked into her magic mirror and said confidently, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest one of all?" To her horror, the mirror replied, "You, O queen, are fair, it is true, but Snow White is still fairer than you." The queen trembled with anger when she realized that the vampire had not killed her. She decided that she would now find Snow White and kill her herself.
The cruel queen disguised herself into a old woman with a basket of poisoned apples, and she set out of the forest. When she came to the dwarf's cottage in the clearing, she knocked and waited for Snow White. When Snow White heard the peasant woman knocking at the door, she woke up and opened the door. "Hello, I'm a poor peasant, and I want to sell you apple. Would you like one?"
asked the queen. Suddenly, Snow White realized that she was terribly hungry, but not for apples. She wanted blood. So she fell on the old lady, and she sucked her blood after she had beaten her on the neck.
Then Snow White got back to her bed after she had heard the dwarf voices who came back from their work, leaving the dead body on the doorstep. As she had gone upstairs very quickly, she didn't have time to clean the blood around her mouth. When the dwarf arrived at their home, they were terrified to see the old lady dead body.
"Oh my God, a dead body!"
exclaimed Doc. "We have to bury her right now,"
proposed Grumpy.
So they went in the deep dark forest to bury the dead body as far as possible from the cottage. Once at home, Sleepy said, very anxious,
"Oh, is the beautiful lady doing well?" Just after Sleepy had said that, they ran to see if she was still alive. They were relieved to see that she was always sleeping, but Sneezy pointed out to his friend that the lovely girl had some blood around her mouth, so they became suspicious. Naively, Duppy convinced them that she was not able to kill someone because she looked harmless. Confident, they went to bed when they had finished eating.
During the night, Duppy, thirsty, went in the kitchen and drank some water. When he got back to his room, he saw Snow White. He was very glad to meet her awakened for the first time. Then Snow White told him with a large smile,
"Would you like to have a walk with me in the deep dark forest, little dwarf?"
The credulous Duppy answered, "Oh yes, of course, pretty girl."
Once in the forest, Snow White caught the poor innocent dwarf and, bloodthirsty, killed him. She got back home, leaving the inanimate body in the woods.
In the early hour, the six other dwarfs realized that Duppy was missing. They looked for him in the whole cottage. However, as he wasn't at home, they decided to go in the forest to find him. After a few minutes, Grumpy screamed to say to the others that he has found the corpse of Duppy. The other arrived around the dead body, and Happy exclaimed, "I've heard someone walking in the corridor last night."
"I'm sure that it was a strange lady." Achoo! Then they decided to make her leave the house. They put her in a glass-topped coffin after they had built it. The dwarf left her in a clearing, and they got back to the Duppy's dead body to bury him.
A few hours later, the prince, riding a beautiful white horse, saw the glass-topped coffin and recognized Snow White. She woke up when he kissed her. Then she beat him and transformed him into a vampire. They rode away on the back of the prince's horse. At his castle, they got married and they both lived happily forever. The pretty young lady can sometimes be dangerous.